This episode of the Ageless and Awesome podcast is sponsored by the Radiant Reset Hormone Detox Guide for Perimenopausal Women. As a woman in the modern world, our hormones are taking a battering. They're impacted by the food we eat, the toxins we're exposed to, such as when we eat out of plastic takeaway containers, or even worse, reheat food in them. Please don't do this. If you're handling FPOS receipts, filling the car with fuel, eating non-organic produce that hasn't been washed effectively, plus so much more things add to our toxic load every day. Even though our bodies are designed to effectively manage toxins, they haven't evolved as quickly as our toxic world has, unfortunately. So our body does need support. Symptoms such as stubborn weight gain, fatigue, disrupted periods, irritability, and gut health issues can be a sign that you'd benefit from a gentle detox. And that's why I developed the Radiant Reset Hormone Detox Guide for Perimenopausal Women. This free guide has an abundance of information to get you started on your very own DIY detox. And if you'd like to upgrade to VIP, it's only $47 for a limited time. I used to sell this program for $247. The upgrade gives you the recipes, including plenty of plant-based options, the meal planner, the shopping list template, the video workshop, and so much more. Click the link in the show notes to learn more now. Take care of your hormones. They are a critical part of your health as a woman. Hi, I'm Susie Garden, and this is the Ageless and Awesome podcast. I'm an age-defying naturopath and clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to bust myths around women's health and aging so that you can be ageless and awesome in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The Ageless and Awesome podcast is dedicated to helping women through perimenopause and menopause with great health, a positive mindset, and outrageous confidence. Hit subscribe or follow now, and let's get started. Hello, gorgeous one, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ageless and Awesome podcast. This week, I'm going to talk about something that is dear to my heart, and that is the power of self-care, and particularly how it can impact our hormones in peri and post-menopause. So the thing is, let's be honest with ourselves. We are all pretty busy people. And amidst the deadlines, the commitments, the responsibilities that we all have, often it's our health that takes a backseat. Am I right? I'm pretty sure that I am. How many times have you put off a mammogram or a pap smear, or have you eaten takeaway because you haven't had time to go shopping or to do meal prep? You know, all of these sorts of things that can really contribute to our own self-care and our health long term. So when you think about it, if you ask the richest person in the world, you know, what is important, many of them will say their health, because without your health, you could be the richest person in the world and have access to anything you want to do at any time. And if your health is not great, you're not going to be able to do all of the things that you want to do in your life. And even though you may not be the richest person in the world, I certainly am not, I want to make sure I'm going into this last sort of third, probably longer actually. Women in my family live into their 90s. So, you know, I've got more than a third of my life still to go. And I don't want to live it in a state of poor health. So I know that the things I do right now, while I've been in my 40s and now in my 50s, I know that these things are absolutely critical for my future health. And that the things I do now or don't do are going to impact my health and my mobility and my ability to do things that are fun, that I enjoy. It's going to impact that big time, if I don't take steps now to really make sure that I'm prioritizing my health, because without your health, what do you have, you know? And that really came home to me when I was diagnosed earlier this year with osteopenia. And it was like, man, I didn't think I was at risk for osteoporosis. And now I'm like, okay, I'm a pretty active person. I don't want my body to limit me in the things that I can do in the future. When I'm in my 60s, I still want to be traveling. In my 70s, I still want to be traveling. I still want to be doing fun things, on bushwalks. I don't want to be limited by my mobility. So the things I do now are paramount to making sure that my life is as fun and fulfilled as I want it to be. But yeah, you need to actually do the work to make sure that you're in that place physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually later on in life. And you're never too young to start to put these things in place, because the more you can build good habits, once you build the habits, it's so easy to maintain that, much more easy than trying to build that. And seriously, no amount of wealth, success, material possessions can replace the vitality and well-being that comes from being in good health. Your health is the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. It's the key that unlocks the door to a life full of limitless possibilities. And it's something that I see a lot in my program, the Glow Protocol, when women are coming to me feeling flat, unwell, gut health issues maybe, weight that they're not wanting to carry anymore. And when this usually happens in the first 2 to 3 weeks, they suddenly feel so much better and they're sleeping. They don't realize how bad they were feeling until they actually start feeling normal. Back to our health back to our baseline level. Often you do not realize how bad you're feeling. So if you think, oh no, this isn't me, really have a think about, well, what are the things that you are consciously and intentionally doing to help bring yourself into a great state of health? And what habits are you bringing in that are going to continue that as you live your life for the next decades? So what are some of the things you can do? Actually, before I go into what are some of the things, I do actually want to say there is science behind what I'm about to talk about. What I'm about to talk about is, of course, self-care. There is so much science to support self-care. This is not just about doing something fun. It's not fluff. The basis of the science is around regulating and supporting your nervous system. I'm going to go a little bit beyond that today in the podcast, but that's when we talk about self-care generally, that's what we're meaning, doing things that are going to support your nervous system. Things that just are fun for you for a start. I mean, we know that things such as mindfulness, meditation, that sort of stuff, that's definitely going to be helpful. And that's where there is a lot of science. But just generally speaking, anything you can do that makes you feel good is going to help regulate your nervous system. So let's talk about some other things. So, nourishing your body from a nutritional point of view is paramount to keep your inflammation in your body low. We know that that inflammation is the root cause of pretty much every physical and mental health condition, from anxiety and depression to cancer to heart disease, so many medical conditions caused by inflammation. And our whole environment is inflammatory in our modern lifestyle. So whatever you can do in terms of from a food point of view to reduce inflammation, that is important. I'll get into that shortly. But yeah, nourishing your body with nutritional meals is super important. And that means also avoiding foods that are not great for you, because for a start, they fill you up. So, for most of us, if you put down a bowl of steamed broccoli or a bowl of chips, and a bowl of chips, I know which one most of us would be attracted to, including myself. But if you have the bowl of chips, you're not going to have necessarily room for the broccoli. So it's kind of important to really prioritize nutrition. Have treat foods? Absolutely. I'm not saying not have fun and not have treat foods, but make sure you're getting that nourishment in first so that you minimize your intake of the not so great foods for you, and you're getting that nourishment that your body needs. So I don't think I've listed yet the kind of foods. I might as well just go there now. So the kind of foods you're wanting to include, obviously, lots of whole foods, fresh fruits, veggies, grains, quality proteins, all that sort of stuff. That's all the good stuff. Plus hydration, super duper important. And avoiding things like your high sugar, your trans fats, your saturated fats, processed foods, all of those things. We all know this. None of this is new information, I'm sure. But I think it's really important to keep bringing that into your mind, because we have such great access to food beyond what we need. And I think that's probably one of the major issues for many people, is that because we have so much choice, our ancestors did not. They really didn't. They, had the basics, and generally that was home cooked foods that were not from a box. That's where we've really, I think, gone too far in the other direction, where we're eating lots of foods in boxes, which is great because it's convenient. And let's face it, a lot of us are time poor. But even just building simple habits like double cooking. When you're cooking a meal, cook twice as much and freeze half. And then you've got, you can start building up a fantastic stock of frozen meals in your freezer. And that way you're not getting caught out because you're too busy. Just little habits like that make a massive difference to your health and to your self-care. So nourishing your body with nutritious foods, finding movement that you love. I'm not someone who I used to be someone who did not love exercise. I actually quite like moving my body now. I think because I sit a lot. When I started my career, I was a nurse, so I was on my feet all day, every day. And so the last thing I felt like doing was exercise when I finished work. But now that I spend my days pretty much sitting, I really love going to reformer. I love going to yoga. I love walking my dogs. I love swimming in the ocean, all of that stuff. So moving your body in ways that you enjoy is really important, because not only are you going to get the benefit of that movement, which is improved bone density, improved muscle mass, improved flexibility, etc.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
How would you like to have increased energy, balanced hormones, glowing skin, and your ideal weight in just 3 months? Sounds awesome, right? Imagine having your very own hormone balancing and weight loss strategy totally personalized to you based on your body biochemistry to release excess weight, say goodbye to pesky perimenopause symptoms, and decrease inflammation in your body, which of course leads to decreased inflammaging. That's right, ladies, there are age-defying benefits as well. Oh, and of course, you have me at your fingertips for expert support so you never feel stuck or confused. I love supporting women on their weight loss journeys, and I've packaged up the award-winning Metabolic Balance Program with my signature hormone management system, giving you the Glow Protocol. This 12-week one-to-one coaching program is you and me, nailing down your health and weight loss goals, creating your personalized plan using your blood tests, a thorough health assessment, and your food preferences. And then we get started with me supporting you every step of the way. Even if you've tried everything, even if you have resistant weight and complex medical conditions, the power of personalized nutrition, mindset coaching, and my support is transformational and gets results. And I'm not even exaggerating, even if I do say myself. So if you're ready to embrace feeling like your younger self again, lose excess weight, manage health conditions, and regain your confidence, you can just DM me at Susie Garden Wellness or email me hello@susiegarden.com, and I'll pop a link in the show notes. You're also going to get the regulation of your nervous system that happens when you're doing something that you enjoy. And, when you do move your body, you do release endorphins. It does feel really good. And for you, you may not want to go to anything sort of organized in terms of movement. So even just dancing, going for a walk, all of that sort of stuff will really help. I think that's probably all I want to say about that. Prioritizing sleep. That's another really important thing, particularly in peri and post menopause. All of us during that time of life, often, sorry, not all of us, I would say the majority of women, though, that I speak to at that time of life really struggle with sleep. I know for me, I've talked a lot about my struggle with insomnia, and probably for some of the years of this podcast, when it was in its previous iteration, The Wellness Glow, I struggled with insomnia. I had no idea I was in perimenopause, and that was probably one of the biggest drivers of my insomnia. And so, really prioritizing a good sleep routine. And that can be things like removing screens a couple of hours before you go to bed. That can be wearing blue blocker glasses during the day. Now, they can be in your prescription glasses, or you can actually just buy blue blocker glasses that look like prescription glasses that you can use when you're on your screen. Things like, using beautiful essential oils that relax you, perhaps doing something like reading. Maybe you have a deep breathing practice or a meditation practice, having a shower or a bath, just something that like a routine that starts to tell your mind, we're getting ready to go to bed. Like anything, building the habit starts to build a neural pathway that is going to promote sleep. And making sure your room is cool, making sure that you have the comfort in whether it's your bed, your sheets, what you're wearing to bed, if you're wearing anything, all of those sorts of things. Maybe, I've talked a little bit about gratitude. It's something I'm starting to work more with personally, and having a gratitude practice just before you go to bed can be very powerful and just help relax your nervous system before you go to bed. So there's lots of things you can do. I think it's a very personal thing as to what helps you with your sleep. And of course, there are some beautiful herbal medicines. I would always recommend to my clients magnesium in a form that helps promote sleep, and generally that's going to be magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate. They're probably the two better ones to have, and having a decent dose of that to make sure that your muscles are nice and relaxed, and it starts to relax your brain as well. So yeah, as I said, it's going to be really very personal what your sleep hygiene is, or your sleep routine, we tend to call it now. But actually having one and starting to develop one, working out what works for you, will serve you well for many, many years. What else can be termed a self-care thing? Well, as I said, anything that brings you joy. So hanging out with friends, I think, is probably one of the better self-care activities that you can do. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people who will support you, who will be there to uplift you, to empower you, to listen to you, to, not judge you. Having a support system around you, whether that's family, whether it's friends, whether it's through a club or something like that, whatever your interests are, if you've got that support there, it makes a huge difference to how you feel about yourself. It makes a huge difference to your nervous system. And that is absolutely a part of self-care. So this is the thing. When you're looking at this sort of stuff, it's not selfish. It is not selfish to look after yourself. I often have to have discussions with clients when they talk about, well, how am I going to fit all of this in? I've got all of these other things to do. I don't want to feel like, and this is the powerful sentence, I don't want to feel like I'm neglecting my family because I am looking after myself. Can I just assure you, when the mother looks after themselves, the rest of the family benefits. They get the better version of you. They're not getting the tired you, the stressed you, the anxious you. They're getting the well-rested, the relaxed, the engaged, the empowered you. And a lot of these habits that I'm talking about are not going to take a lot of additional time. You have to eat anyway. So, making time for a nourishing meal you got to eat. And I know obviously it's quicker to get takeaway. Sometimes, depends. I can whip up a nutritious meal in less than half an hour. And generally for takeaway, you're looking at around that length of time. And if you've got frozen meals ready to go that you've cooked, bang, that's way, way cheaper and quicker than takeaway, and so much better for you. It's really try and turn around your mindset around self-care. Looking after yourself actually benefits your family. And if they have to wait an extra minute or two for you to be available because you're doing some deep breathing or you're having a shower or whatever it is, then they wait. It's okay. It's okay. Give yourself permission to look after yourself. So that is self-care. I did actually also want to touch on healthcare, preventative healthcare, because that is a part of the self-care, I believe, the self-care model. And that is the things that the testing and that sort of thing that can really help prevent health problems in the future. So, are you on track with your mammograms, your DEXA scan if you're in that age group, that's your bone density scan, your pap smears, your blood tests. If you're not having bloods done every year, particularly in Australia, I know I have a lot of listeners from around the world, and your healthcare systems may not cover you, but certainly in Australia, you can get under Medicare pretty good selection of blood tests just generally without being sick, just as a checkup, to make sure that your cholesterol's within range, to make sure that your blood health is good, that you're not iron deficient, you're not vitamin D deficient. Maybe testing your hormones if you need to, all of that sort of thing. So make the time, go to that appointment. If you've got pain in your body, such as neck issues, shoulder issues, all of that sort of thing, are you seeing someone about it? I talk to so many women that have got injuries or pain in their body that they've never had assessed. I'm like, what? What is going on here? You can so easily get that assessed, whether it's at your GP, whether it's at an osteopath, a chiropractor, a physio, whatever, massage therapist. Be proactive about these things. Don't wait until it gets to a point that you're really struggling to complete basic tasks because your shoulder's so sore, or you can't get sleep because your hips are so sore. Prevention is always better than cure, but management early will help prevent that pain from lingering on and on and on. So these are the sort of things, listening to your body, taking that time to go, even something I started for myself a little while ago, probably only a year and a half ago, was actually rating, because this is something I do with my clients all the time, is every consult I have with my clients, I'll ask them, what's your energy out of 10? What's your stress out of 10? So I went through a little period of time, and I still do it from time to time, where I ask myself every day for a period of time, what's my energy today out of 10? What's my stress out of 10? And if I start looking at a week and I'm like 6 out of 10 for energy, 6 out of 10 for energy, I'm like, that's not good. Why is that? And putting some things in place to make sure that I'm hydrated, I've got my food's okay, that am I getting out in nature enough? What's my stress like? Stress and energy are closely interlinked, which is why I always ask those two questions. And usually if my energy is down, my stress will be up. So then, it's what can I do? Easy things. Deep breathing at my desk while I'm working. So easy. Doesn't take any extra time. I have to breathe anyway. Making sure I get to my classes every week, because that is something that I absolutely love. Making sure when I walk my dogs, I am present. I never ever take my phone with me. I'm not someone that walks around looking at my phone. I see people, every day that are going on their morning walk, and they literally are looking down at their phone while they're walking. I find that crazy. And so, being engaged in your surroundings, that is going to regulate your nervous system. That is a perfect example of self-care. So I hope, actually, no, before I sign off, one more thing I do want to talk about is a digital detox. I mentioned before when it comes to sleep, getting rid of your screens. I actually, from about 6 p.m., my phone is in another room from where I am. I probably should just turn it off, but I do like to just double check before I go to bed that I haven't had any calls or any messages I need to deal with. But I never look at email. I will rarely look at an SMS. often look at my messages on Facebook just because I know that that's how a lot of my friends will communicate with me. But yeah, I don't want to receive news or just any sort of issue that's going to nudge my nervous system before I go to sleep. And I think it's a really good practice, particularly if you have family at home, that you are focused on them and you're not having a dinner where all of you have got your devices out and you just engage with your device and not with each other. Because let's face it, when we look at how many hours there are in a day and we look at how much time we actually get with our loved ones, it's a very short period of time relative to the 24-hour period. If you really nail it down, particularly if you have kids, you think, okay, well, they're at school or uni or whatever, or not even living with you anymore. You're, at work, you've got a spouse perhaps that's at work. It can just be, when you really look at how many minutes sometimes a day you get together, be present with each other rather than looking at your screens. So as well as that aspect of it, there's obviously the blue light aspect, which is the problem with, interfering with your circadian rhythm and therefore your sleep quality. So I think that was the only other thing I wanted to mention there. So I hope this has been helpful. This is a bit of a softer episode. I tend to go for stuff that's a little bit more tangible. Self-care can be a little intangible. And have a think about, well, what are the things that you like to do? What have you not done for a long time? I was actually in the car, I think it was yesterday, and I saw an ad on the side of a bus or something for indoor climbing. Now, I've done that a couple of times. I haven't done it for a really long time, but I really enjoyed it every time I did it because I'm quite scared of heights, but I don't mind that because it feels very controlled and it makes me feel really good. I probably just get this huge adrenaline rush when I do it. And it was like, God, I haven't done that for so long. I'm going to go and do that. So have a think about what are the things that you've done that you've enjoyed that you haven't done for a really long time. Maybe it's as simple as going for a picnic. Maybe it's as simple as going to the beach. I'm so fortunate because I live near a beautiful beach, and where I walk every day with my dogs is right next to a nature reserve. So I get the sound of the waves. I get sunrise, which is beautiful. I get lots of trees. Sometimes I see koalas. I see lots of birds. And that is just the best way to start a day. So have a think about what are the things that bring you joy that you're not doing, that you could probably do, even if it means you have to get up half an hour earlier, even if it means you have to plan a trip to the beach or something like that. And then notice how you feel in your body and your mind when you actually go and do one of these things. And I bet you feel good. And I bet you say to yourself or your friend or your partner or your kid or whoever you're with, we should do this more often. How many times have you said that? And there's really probably nothing stopping you from doing it more often, from planning it, putting it in your diary, and as we're starting to really head into the end of the year, have a real think about, well, what are the habits that I've got now that aren't serving me, that I don't want to take into 2025 or into the next year if you're listening to this podcast later. And don't wait until the 1st of January to start. Do it now. Just start. It's not difficult. It's just about taking that first step. And if you do struggle with that, here's one piece of advice I'm going to give you. Whenever I'm thinking about stuff like this and I'm thinking, I just can't be bothered sitting down and doing something about it, I ask myself to give 10 minutes to it. 10 minutes of whatever the task is. Now, this can be a task, can be, cleaning, it can be sitting down and doing a business plan or whatever it is. I say to myself, okay, you can do it. You've got 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, if you would like to stop, just stop. You have permission to stop. I give myself permission to stop. I'll guarantee you'll keep going. Because once you get in that flow, it is just, it's just easier to keep going. So if you think, okay, I'm going to sit and I'm going to write down a few things I can do, and maybe I'm going to plan it in my diary to really start looking after myself, looking after my body, looking after my mind, whether it's making doctor's appointments, whether it is, or healthcare professional appointments, whether it's going, okay, I'm going to do a walk 3 days a week or something. if even the thought of doing all of this, like, say, okay, 10 minutes, I'm going to sit with a pad and pen and I'm just going to write it down. And after 10 minutes, if I want to stop and I want to stop this plan or whatever, I'm just going to stop. Do that and see how it works for you, because I find it really helpful. Because 10 minutes is a pretty, it's enough time to get into the task. But it's a short enough period of time that it feels super manageable. And when I say give yourself permission, really, truly give yourself permission. Like if you don't want to keep going after 10 minutes, stop. Absolutely stop. Okay. And just try it again another time. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I don't know whether podcast episodes like this are useful. I will know from the number of downloads, because I get to see what's popular and what's not so popular. But yeah, if you found this of interest, please share it. Maybe take a little screenshot, stick it in your social media. I would absolutely love that. You could tag me. This is the way my stuff gets out there. I don't have a big advertising budget. It's just little old me sitting in my room at home in what I call my clinic room. It's my online clinic room. I've got one of my dogs at my feet as I'm recording this, little Daisy. And yeah, I don't have a big advertising budget. I don't have anyone else promoting me except you. So feel free to share. Hope you have a great rest of the week. I'll be back on Thursday with Q&A. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Ageless and Awesome podcast. If you like today's episode, please make sure you click the little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or the follow button if you're on Spotify, so that you get each new episode delivered to you every week. If you like free stuff, then head to the show notes and click the link to receive my free Radiant Reset Hormone Detox Guide for perimenopausal women. Or if you'd like to continue the discussion, head over to Instagram and DM me at Susie Garden Wellness. I'd love to connect with you.